right, let's talk about wave control. This is going to be definitions and examples for priority, tempo, and how those relate to wave control. This discussion is focused on players who already know what is going to happen to their wave if they don't mess with it, and already generally know how to get a wave state, but are unsure which wave state is best for them. I think of tempo as time advantage. You are able to do something the enemy is unable to respond to due to their position on the map. Recalls, it can be death timers, teleport, or you've simply crashed a wave and they're just answering the crashed wave. Anything works, whatever, due to position, the enemy is unable to respond to. So first, I want to give a really basic example for tempo. Let's say you're constantly getting push in the mid lane. You get to pick a recall timer whenever you like. You push a wave in first. You recall. The enemy mid laner stays to push the next wave. Then they recall. You respond to the wave that they pushed. You push the next wave before they quite gotten there. Now they're locked up, responding to the minions that you have under their tower from having pushed. And you get to look around the map. You can go place a ward. If there's a play somewhere happening on the map, you could go further and commit to some like dive or whatever. You're able to do something that the enemy mid laner, as soon as they show, you have time advantage to do this. You can commit to a play. Now, there is normal League of Legends, unless you're in an extremely advantaged position, there is a cost to committing to these plays. It's not free, especially in solo queue. Let's say, I have a video example that I'll show later. It's like of exactly this. You commit to this play as blue side mid laner. The enemy mid laner will, they'll push in a wave, and then you're all the way up here. Now they have time advantage. They can go commit to a cross map play, go down here and make a play bot lane. There's a recoil to actually committing to a lot of these plays. And this creates this is like red team mid laner's turn. You don't have to do anything that gives red team mid laner a turn like this. You could keep it really simple rather than committing to something so far from your lane. You could just get your first push and go set up vision for yourself. You can go drop a ward here and then just run back to mid, You don't have to do anything too crazy. But this is just generally, it's just creating time advantages. You're able to get to places the enemy cannot get to. You can do this for invades, for scuttle crabs, for dives, time, producing numbers, make plays, make the game scrappy. Enemy mid laner can create their own plays elsewhere if you commit to anything. It's general League of Legends. All right, so for priority, I want to go over I'll focus on bot lane here. So we're gonna do partial push for let's say red side bot lane in this example is always going to be the advantage bot lane. And we'll go through the wave states. So the first we'll have is partial push. They haven't gotten the wave in, but both junglers are trying to fight over Scuttle Crab right now. Red side didn't quite get their wave in time. It's a partial push. They're the advantage bot lane. They have a resource advantage, HP advantage, whatever it is, maybe matchup. They're able to move. Blue side just can't. They just can't move. They can't. They would die. Red side can move to this, but it's costly. They didn't get their wave all the way in. So they're losing minions as soon as they move. As soon as they leave lane, their larger creep wave is killing blue minions, and they're just not getting golden XP for that. So they can lose their favorite position in the lane, can even give blue a potential reset. It does all this bad stuff for their lane, but technically they can move, they just don't want to. Now you have the next state. This is the complete push state. They got the wave entirely in, and now they're able to move. This state is really good for them. They got a big wave crash. There's going to be the next type of wave state coming next. They have a very extended window to go do something on the map. So they respond to this. Blue side deals with the wave. They return. And they catch the wave. Is basically in a rebounding state. Maybe they can set up a freeze. They can do whatever they wish. It was very, very low cost, potentially no cost. So then we have the rebounding wave state where there's no longer a wave under tower. As you have 6 minions versus 6 minions. It's on blue's side of the lane, so blue is pushing into red team. Blue has a disadvantaged position. They have to take a longer path to a scuttle crab fight. In addition, they would be losing more resources if they did move, so they're not going to move. But red team can't leave for long without losing minions. Blue can push this wave in, and red needs to respond to that. They can't go very far. Now let's do the example for a disadvantaged partial push. This is usually when you are frozen on, really unable to access the wave and complete your push. You are the disadvantaged bot lane. If red side each moves, they can push the wave, which is not good. And if just red side bot lane stays, they can also push the wave, which is not good. In this wave state, typically neither team wants to move, and they'll leave it up to the jungle 1v1. Obviously, it changes game by game. There are going to be some situations where like a Pyke just goes like they just leave their ADC real quick to go pick up a blue team jungle kill. Obviously, it's going to vary by game, but generally speaking, neither bot lane wants to move in this position because this is a good thing that they have right now by keeping bot lane zoned off of gold, maybe some XP, and by moving to this, they're generally losing that. Or like red team would be losing that, and blue team, if they move to that, they're going to be suffering. Their lane is going to get very, very hard. They might even get into a situation where red team breaks their freeze, pushes these minions, and then zones blue team out, keeps them from getting back to the tower. I mean, blue team is in a disadvantaged state. It can be pretty hard to get back to their tower. Not a good situation. Not very good for blue team at all. Now you have complete push for the wave state on the disadvantaged blue team. They can do stuff. It's always going to be riskier. They have less time to get back to lane safely because red team can more easily box them out due to their advantage. But this is the best time the disadvantaged bot lane can move. This is the closest thing, the best type of prio that disadvantaged or advantaged team can have. Complete push is ideal. And last is the rebound state, where they got the wave in, and while it's pushing into them, something very near, if the scuttle crab fight is happening really, really close to Pixel, they are a lot more likely to want to move to this, get something done very quickly, and then return back to lane safely. What's best for the laner is an outlet to push an advantage onto the map just as they've gotten a wave under enemy tower. This gives them the most time to do things without losing gold and experience from minions. The worst time is to move before they finish pushing the wave in. They are already losing resources as soon as they leave the lane. Now let's cover some in-game examples. This is a game where I am laning versus a Yone. I see that the Yone is attempting to push the first wave in. He makes the mistake of going to look for my Zac and place a ward before the wave is completely in. I abuse his mistake to put my caster minions in a position that is extra uncomfortable for him. Doesn't recognize what has happened, and he allows those caster minions to survive, even while he still has some melee minions alive. He makes a mistake again, allowing the waves to kill each other's melee minions, which will put him in the exact same position he was in previously. He cannot get a full push. If he didn't touch the wave at all, he could allow the wave to bounce and put me in a partially pushing or slow pushing position. Again, he gives me too much space, so I punish. He steps up, indicating that he's going to try pushing the wave in again, so I cue him to neutralize his push by pulling his melee minions into the tower early, allowing me to pick where his casters rest. I see my Nico has died, so I am pretty confident I'll have support pressure mid soon, and I'll allow him to get the wave in. I do not cue him to pull the melees in early. The Nico's presence mid is very, very obvious, so we should really only be looking to get this wave in like I'm planning, but Yone just perishes for no reason. In this next example here, we have a Yone moving on a partial push. Yone can move. Obviously, I cannot respond. I can't follow him. But it is very uncomfortable for the state of his lane to do so. He misses a lot of minion XP and gold. Here we have a very high elo game. We see a little bit more of tempo related to wave management. Yasuo is recalling for his Berserker Greaves. He will be running back to lane. Syndra responds to him basing by pushing the next wave. Yasuo has, like, obviously he has pressure on the map and Syndra isn't around. He goes to make sure that his Zyra is safe for Scuttle Crab. Then he returns to push his wave. Now that Syndra is responding to this wave, Yasuo looks at the situation top and decides he wants to be a part of that. So he moves. Syndra cannot be here unless she commits her teleport. With the help of Yasuo, blue team takes out red team, jungle, and top. Meanwhile, Syndra wins one wave advantage over Yasuo and decides to cross map after taking a plate. It is her turn to play. Yasuo is not able to be bot lane because he did something top. Syndra has time to look for something bot. Because it's solo queue, blue team completely gives her the opportunity for a cross-map play. They opt into it. And they opt into it again. And they opt into it one more time. Both Yasuo and Syndra have a lot of gold now. Yasuo takes his recall a bit faster than the Syndra, and we get into a repeat of the prior situation. Now, Syndra is going to push this wave in response to Yasuo's recall. Then Yasuo is going to return, receive this wave, and then push the next wave before Syndra can be there, and we get our cycle of mid lane turns again. All right, let's wrap this up. Thank you all for joining me. You should watch me on Twitch. I answer questions live, listen to chill music, mostly play Cassidon. Bye-bye.